What's up, everybody? I'm back with another roller coaster review, review number 2 from Kings Island, and this is of the Bat, their aero suspended roller coaster that I believe opened back in 1993. This is the second edition of this coaster. Originally added to the park, it was called Top Gun, because it was themed to Paramount, Paramount themed and stuff like that. Because there's one Paramount on the park. It was later rethemed, I believe, Flight Deck. And then in 2014, it was changed to the Bat to pay homage to the original Bat, which was their first attempted aero suspended coaster back in 1981. One of the most infamous roller coasters to ever exist because it was the first of its kind, first suspended roller coaster. Had a lot of technical issues. It was moved in 1983. And then 10 years later, they got the Bat. Not in the same location as the original Bat. That spot was taken up by Vortex, and now it's vacant because Vortex is also gone. But they added this one, and I only got one ride in on this thing. It was a front row ride, because, and I gotta say, when people say that it was a hard ride, I thought it was a hard ride to find. It wasn't very hard to find. You exit Banshee, right there. There's the Bat, the entrance sign of the Bat, and everything. Getting to the ride is a little bit of a hike. They were not lying when they said about that. This coaster was a long hike to find. Now you do get to see Son of Beast's old station from the Bat in the queue line, which was really nice. You get a really awesome view of it, which was really cool. And then you get up to the actual station for the ride. It's like a lot of dips and going upstairs and then back downstairs and upstairs. They do have while you're at the exit of the ride, it is a nice platform with like benches and stuff to watch the ride. It's really the only good viewing point outside of the Eiffel Tower where you can watch the ride for what it is, because it does go into the trees. It acts with the terrain a lot. It's really good terrain coaster. Yeah, again, I only got one ride in on this thing at the front row. This thing, man, it really does swing, and it does carry, because the only other air suspended coaster I've ridden at the time of this video is Iron Dragon and Cedar Point. And that was more directed towards families. The Bat is definitely a higher thrill coaster. It's a shorter ride than Iron Dragon, and it whips you through all these turns, up and down, and turns and stuff like that. Definitely the front row, it made it a lot more fun because you didn't really get to see how the swing would work right before you get into it. But I guess the view really didn't matter that much, though. The slow lift, I gotta say, the slow lift. You get a good view when you get up to the lift hill, up to the top. But man, it's a slow lift hill. And then you do a turnaround. The turnaround's really slow too. And I feel like if they'd improved how fast it goes, you might get a little nice little swinging action from the back off the top, but you really don't get that. Maybe that was by design. Maybe that would put too much stress on the trains. I don't know. But that might have been a little bit cool to add for the ride. But I mean, you are flying through those turns, and there's no second lift hill like there is on Iron Dragon. It's a lot shorter of a ride, and you really swing, especially at the end, man. We were like parallel to the track. We were just flying along the side. Now, as far as the over-the-shoulder restraints, I didn't find them that difficult. Their operations on this ride, I said in the park review, the operations here at Kings Island were really good. This one was on the smaller end, the slower end of the operation. That by any means does that make it any slow at all. Like, it was fast. It would be top line compared to other parks. But Kings Island standards was a little bit slow. It didn't really matter anything. We got in there, it was like station wait. Really wasn't anything too bad. It was the only major coaster, though, at the park that did not have fast lane. I can see why they didn't add a fast lane, because it would be really hard with how the queue works back there. I was just kind of, I think if they did have fast lane, I would have been more intrigued to try and ride it again. But knowing that it was probably going to get a long line, and it was going to not have that fast lane, kind of turned us away from riding it again, which kind of sucked. So I wish we had gotten to do it again, though. But for my final verdict on this ride, because it was smooth. The restraints there was no headbanging. The restraints were really nice. The cars were a little bit more, have a little bit more space than they do in Iron Dragon. They felt a little bit more secure, which I thought was nice. And even if it's a shorter ride experience, it was again smoother. So it didn't really bother me that much. I'm not a stickler for long rides versus short rides, for the most part at least, and especially with this one, I'm not really that much of a stickler for it. I still really enjoyed it. And again, wish I would have gotten to ride it again. For my final score, though, I'm going to give it a good 7 out of 10. It's not the most thrilling ride in the park, but it was definitely a very solid attraction. And if we ever go, I hope to go to Kings Island again when they get a new ride, new big coaster. So I cannot wait to try and ride the Bat again and see how it maybe changes. Because I know we got the Viper at Magic Mountain. And I don't know of any other ones that are currently operating in the world. But maybe when I go back to Cedar Point, maybe I'll ride Iron Dragon again, see how it compares. Because I do think Iron Dragon does have a better scenery than the Bat. Even though the Bat does really work really well with the terrain, and it's kind of secluded from the woods. The trees, it does not feel right. Like, I love the setting on Iron Dragon when it goes around the water and stuff like that. The Bat doesn't have that. Doesn't really take away from the ride experience that much, but as far as picturesque moments and off-ride footage, they do have that nice platform again. But I'd love to see more of those. But I mean, that takes away from the point of the ride, so it's not really that big a deal. But so if you've ever ridden the Bat at Kings Island, or even any other suspended coaster, let me know your experience about them in the comments section down below. And I'd love to hear your experiences. If you rode it when it was Top Gun, or you rode it when it was Flight Deck, or you rode the original Bat all the way back between 1981 and 1983. Love to hear your experience about it in the comments section down below. And that is going to do it for this review of the Bat at Kings Island. Stay tuned for much more amazing content, including a bunch more coaster reviews coming to you. And stay tuned. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.